Hello, Robbie. Welcome along to MLR Daily. Let's first start with Arsenal last night, who finally got a win away from home against Middlesbrough. Arsenal winning the game by 2-1. They're two so-called rebels at the moment getting the goals. A fantastic free kick by Alexis Sanchez, who's turned into a real expert on these. He scored one like that the other day for Chile, and he repeated the trick last night with a fantastic free kick. Put them into the lead. Alvaro Negredo pulled one back for Middlesbrough, but then Mesut Ozil made it 2-1 to Arsenal, and it was a very hard-fought game, but a very much-needed win for Arsenal and Arsene Wenger, and puts Arsenal now into 6th place in the table, 7 points off the top 4, but they do have a game in hand. Middlesbrough, on the other hand, it was a very damaging defeat for them. They still stay second from bottom, 6 points now off of that relegation safety, and real problems for Middlesbrough. They just don't score enough goals. They really fought hard last night, but couldn't get the result, and they are really seriously in relegation trouble. News yesterday about John Terry, the captain of Chelsea. Well, he and also Chelsea Football Club announced that he's going to be leaving the club at the end of the season after 22 years at the club. Truly amazing. He's been a fantastic captain for them. He's won league titles for them, Champions League, FA Cups, and you know, all the best times at Chelsea have been under his captainship. And you know, it's simply, you know, you would have thought that, you know, John Terry would have not played hardly any games this season, but under the new three at the back system, he's just not figured. Even at the weekend, you know, when there was an injury to Marcos Alonso, it was Kurt Zouma who came in. And maybe John Terry realised the writing was on the wall, and he will be leaving the club at the end of the season. I'll tell you what, there'll be a lot of clubs out there that will be thinking to themselves, well, why not take a punt on John Terry? Because you look at some of the centre-halves around at the moment. I know John Terry's 36, but you look at a lot of centre-halves around at the moment in the Premier League, and he could still live with most of them, if not be better than them. Plus, as well, he's got that leadership quality, the experience he has. I mean, he could do a job, even at a club like Arsenal, maybe, he could do a job, still at that high level. Certainly, you look around at clubs like Southampton and maybe Brighton who are coming up, and he could definitely do a job. And I don't think there'll be any shortage of clubs here or abroad for the signature of John Terry at the end of the season, who said that he wants to play on. Controversial figure, as we know at times, but John Terry leaving Chelsea. As one guy leaves Chelsea, another sort of legend of the game is coming back into football. Harry Redknapp, former Tottenham manager, Queen's Park Rangers, Portsmouth manager, Southampton manager, now back in the game at Birmingham City. Birmingham sacked Gianfranco Zola yesterday. He's had a disastrous time at Birmingham since he took over. Why they got rid of Gary Rowett, who was doing so well at Birmingham, I don't know. Got rid of him. Zola's been disastrous. They're now just 3 points above the relegation zone and could be relegated to League One. And they've taken drastic action there. And they've appointed Harry Redknapp. He said it all came out of the blue for him. He was really surprised. His wife couldn't believe it, he said. But he said, it's a real challenge. I live up here until the end of the season, and I'll keep them up. And if I keep them up, I'll sit down and talk about next season. So it looks like the contract's probably from now to the end of the season. 3 games to keep them alive, including one against Aston Villa, a local derby. So they don't come easy. I think he's also got Huddersfield in those 3 games, who are also going to try and, you know, get promoted. Redknapp said, these are his quotes, he says, it's not really a risk going to Birmingham. They've won 2 out of 22 games. I haven't got a magic wand. I'm not going to turn them into Real Madrid. We need a win. Typical Harry Redknapp comments there. But Harry Redknapp back in management. I have to admit, I love Harry Redknapp. It's great to see him back in the game. Harry Redknapp at Birmingham City. On that, talking about teams in the Championship, congratulations goes out to Brighton and Hove Albion. They have been promoted to the Premier League. Brighton will be in the Premier League next season. Remember last season, they just missed out on promotion on the last day of the season when they got a draw at Middlesbrough. But credit to Chris Hughton and credit to Brighton. A lot of teams, when they just miss out the next season, they just crumble away. But they've just come back stronger, and they've been promoted automatically yesterday. So congratulations to Brighton. A real great story this. At one time, Brighton had to move, you know, from their stadium that they were at. They were playing at literally the Wisden Stadium, which anybody who's been there will tell you is just literally like an athletic stadium. That's where they were playing. It was all going south. And then the new owners took over. They've built this fantastic stadium, which I've been to. It's a brilliant stadium. They've got one of the best training grounds in the country, Brighton. And it's all set for them to come now into the Premier League and do well. And they'll be looking at teams like Bournemouth, Southampton that are down there and hoping that they can follow in their footsteps. But another team from down the south of England in the Premier League. Congratulations going out to Brighton of Hove Albion. Now, listen. Big game tonight for Leicester City. Possibly one of the biggest game in their history. I don't know. They won the Premier League last season. But it's a mega game in their history, Leicester. If they win tonight, you know, and the result goes fairly for them, they could be in the semi-finals of the Champions League. They've got Atletico Madrid. They need to overturn a 1-0 deficit. Of course, the only problem is they didn't get that away goal over there in Madrid. So it means that if Atletico score tonight, that means they have to get an additional 2 goals. They'd have to score 3 goals. So first of all, they've got to stop Atletico from scoring, but they need goals themselves. It's going to be a really good game. 2 goals, keeping a clean sheet would secure it for them. It's going to be really tough, but listen, Leicester have done toughness before and they've come through the end of it. Wes Morgan might be back for this one. Of course, Robert Huth's suspended. That's the big blow. But looking forward to that game tonight. And of course, Real Madrid taking on Bayern Munich in their second leg. Real Madrid are leading that by 2-1. You've got to fancy Real Madrid at home at the Bernabeu. Yes, and Bayern Munich are a great team. But 2 away goals for Real Madrid should see them through. So some great games to look forward to tonight. I'm looking forward to them. Thanks for watching MLR Daily.
Man like Robbie.